All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome. We are a few minutes late just because of one or two technicalities, but we're here. It is Talk at 8. My name is Alton. It is episode number 65. So we've done this a few times before, Mr. Damons. Just a few. So welcome to the panel. We've got the thorn amongst the roses, Pastor Fred Damons. We've got Lenyuktha Chetty. We've got Genevieve Williams. And we've got Rosa-Linda Kock. Those are our guests this evening. You, as the audience, are more than welcome to ask your questions, your comments, but more importantly, be part of the conversation. Tell us what you think. Ask them questions about us, and ultimately, this is about how sport has changed their lives. So let's start with Rose, and then we'll work our way around and come to Freddie. Okay. Rose is still settling. Let's start with Jen. Genevieve, how are you?
I'm lekker, thanks, man. Just cold, but good. All good.
Oh, where in the world are you if you cold? We ask you that question first.
In the deep south.
Okay.
In the deep south. I'm in Strandfontein, and I face the ocean. Very baie koud.
So you get a good view on a good day.
Yes.
On a bad day, you get cold.
Very cold.
So rumor has it that you are a physiotherapist. Tell us a little bit firstly about who Genevieve is from a sporting perspective, and a little bit about the practice of physiotherapy. Many people don't know what a physiotherapist does. Let's start there, Jen.
Yeah. Look, what was the first question again?
VSJ.
VSF. What did I do now?
Nothing is
something, closed something. What I do now? Who am I? Well, I'm Jen, like I said, from the deep south, physiotherapist by day, and what does physios do? Well, we definitely don't look at me and ask me for a massage. That's part of a few tools that I have in my box. That I use on a daily basis. And look, my job is mostly in the acute setting, in the hospital setting. Just carrying patients through from the acute setting through to their rehab, to get them back to function, back to society.
What do you mean acute setting? Explain that, because you and I understand acute setting. What does acute setting mean for somebody who has no idea what a physiotherapist does, because he never gets injured?
Physio is so many areas that we can focus on, on the sports field, in the hospital setting. That's the acute setting that I'm talking about. I do a lot of in hospital physio sessions, and again follow them through with their rehab patients, clients. And I also have just people that get referred to me. You've referred a few clients to me yourself, so thank you very much. And that's what I do.
And where is your practice? Because your place of work is called the practice.
That's right. My practice is in Claremont, in the Kingsbury, in the Kingsbury Medical Village over there. I'm not in the hospital. Well, I'm in the hospital treating patients, and then at my practice, my rooms are in Library Square, and that's in Claremont, in close proximity to the Kingsbury Hospital.
Okay, thank you. And sport-wise, you don't just work as a physio. Tell us a little bit about the sport that you do.
Oh gosh, I'm one of those people that like to try everything at least once. So sport has always been a part of me, part of my DNA. Again, at high school it used to be not so much track, but field, discus and shot put and those things. And then at varsity, a bit of everything. Now I cycle, I swim, do a bit of triathlon. So sport is just part of who I am. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So we know a little bit about you. We'll come back to you. You gave me a nice segue into running, because someone that will keep you in track and in tune in the running space is Rosa-Linda. She's a Western Province official. Rosa, how are
Ooh.
you? All settled?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Alton. Yeah, I am in my late 50s. Married for almost 33 years. I have a beautiful son and daughter. One sharing your passion, a lecturer in research, but has a PhD in physiotherapy. And a son who's a dentist. So, yeah, proud grandma of one, soon to be two. We're expecting the baby boy in August. And I'm currently the track and field chairperson for Western Province Athletics, and also occupied this position in Athletics Southwestern Districts for 5 years before I moved back to Cape Town.
But you also look after. You're also one of those people in the white jacket that come to a race, Freddie. When you do something wrong, you'll touch me.
Yeah. So back in the days, when we were at school, you literally had two sports. You either played netball or you participate in athletics. So that's already saying a lot about exactly where I am in the 50s. So I'm currently a wannabe athlete. So I'm attempting 10 kilometers on road, obviously. My passion in athletics is officiating. So I am a World Athletics silver referee. So long story short, qualified for the first time in 1998, had to wait 17 years before I could get to the next level. But yeah, I am one of two South Africans who are World Athletics silver level referees.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow, well done. Well done. No wonder you can walk with a white jacket and tell people what to do. I'm just saying. Just saying.
You make me sound
Rosa,
like
no. It's all positive. You and I have this joke, as you know. So that has now led me into Lenyuktha, aka Muffin Chetty.
We praat Etikoi, Elton.
So Chetty, as she's affectionately known to me, have a long history outside of the bedroom. Let me just rectify that.
Yeah, this is a family show.
We were never there. But Lenyuktha and I know each other probably about 10, 12 years through pool. We shared a similar setting like this where we both did TV on a similar concept like this. So Chetty, you and I go way back when you were still a player, and now you're the president of a federation. Tell us your journey.
Yeah, wow. True. I grew up in KZN, as you can hear, and I played pool in my teenage years, living in the city. Those days, it wasn't acceptable for girls to play pool. So most of us who did, it was kind of like scalumpies, So, so my family didn't know that I loved that sport. I loved playing. And when I finished school, I joined the military and I studied. And like Jen, I'm also a health professional. I'm a speech therapist and audiologist by profession, and I'm a senior officer in the military. So when I came to live in Cape Town and work at the military hospital here, one of my patients actually told me that pool is a sport in the National Defense Force. And I was like, wow, I didn't know pool was an actual sport, So I started playing, and from there, my passion kind of grew, and I eventually got involved in administration. You know how it is with us administrators, you open your mouth in a meeting and the next thing you're in a committee. So they just catch you. They catch you the minute you open your mouth. And yeah, so I've been involved in sports administration from grassroots, team captain, league manager, provincial level. And in 2017, 2019, I was elected as the president for Chinese pool, which is one of the disciplines of Q Sport. And I've been serving on that level and international level since then.
And you get to travel the world, I see, as a president and as a technical official.
I don't know why you're so convinced I'm a technical official. I have to know everything. All the technicalities of it.
And you're standing on the side of the court or the pool table makes me think that you're the technical official.
Yeah, you know, as an administrator, you have to know everything about this sport. So yeah, technical aspects is one of the things that I have to know. It's my responsibility, especially to ensure fair play and high integrity in the tournaments we have. As when you're in a senior administrative position, you are kind of responsible for ensuring that everything is fair. So from that aspect, yes, technically I'm sound. I'm very lucky. My sport in Q Sport, we have some amazing leaders, and I've still managed to compete. I haven't managed to train as much as I would love to because of my administrative responsibilities, but I still manage to compete when there is high level tournaments. And as a result, I've even gone to see other countries. I've been to China, I've been to Morocco, Egypt. I've been to China 3 times actually to participate and to serve as an administrator. So those kind of opportunities would not have happened had it not been for my sport. And Jen can tell you how that rumors about how professionals being rich, it's all lies. So yeah. And in pool, I always say pool is the poor man's golf. You know, so and in Cape Town, Western Cape boasts some of the most talented and revered players in the whole world. And a lot of people don't know that, sadly.
Absolutely. 2 weeks ago, we had Kasi on, who was the 8-ball world champion from Bonjour. I had
Yes.
Ago. So just like I asked Jen, what is the difference between Chinese pool, 8-ball, and snooker? Because most people, Freddie will tell you, when we grew up, we played snooker in his daddy's garage. So what's the difference between snooker, cue ball, 8-ball, and Chinese pool? Because I don't know the difference. I just know it's a couple of balls with different colors and numbers, and you shoot until you need to shoot the black ball. What's the difference?
So it boils down to the size of the table, the size of the balls, and the rule set. So the tables that you see in stones or in pubs and things like that, that is a 7-foot table, the smallest table that the sport is played on. That is the one that Tasneem Solomons won the world champion title in 2 weeks ago. And she played, I think, in UK somewhere. Yeah. And then you've got the 9-foot table where we play a 9-ball and 10-ball and American 8-ball. Those are the American. Chinese pool is similar in that we also play on the 9-foot table, but we play with bigger size balls than the balls on a normal size pool table. The table can be likened to a smaller snooker table. So it's got the same kind of dimensions and characteristics of a snooker table, just smaller. Snooker table is the largest table. Some of you might have heard the name Ronnie O'Sullivan, regarded as one of the best players in the world. That game that he plays or that he's famous for is snooker, and that is the largest table. So in South Africa, we're very fortunate. Like I said, we have amazing administrators in all the disciplines. Our country is quite respected. The players in our country are very respected on the international field because of the type of talent that they have and also because of their South African demeanor. You know, South Africans are very much well known for being friendly and hospitable and stuff. So yeah, it's always wonderful to meet those people as well.
Definitely, and thank you for explaining that. Someone who I think is friendly most of the time. Why put your finger on your lip there, friendly man? Someone I think is friendly most of the time, Chetty, is Pastor Fred Damons, who used to be a squash a compadre partner, man. Way back in the day, we used to play squash. I think it was early 90s, Freddie. We used to go down to a church. I was involved in a church called Bethany Church in Lansdowne,
Yes,
which had a squash
yes.
court. And we used to go and
Look,
play
look,
squash there, Freddie.
Alton used to wipe the squash court with me every time we played. There was no competition. There was no playing. He used to wipe the floor. I was yeah. You used to wipe the floor with me, brother.
We had good days. Are you, Freddie? Are you well?
I'm good, sir. I'm good. I'm just a bit overwhelmed with all these health professionals and all the practitioners here. I'm thinking, I'm sitting here gobsmacked to realize the impact and the actual wealth of sporting etiquette that's just around us in the deep south and in Musenberg, and wow, it's amazing to be here tonight. Thank you, man.
Freddie, something that stood out for me this week. Before I ask you to tell us about you, in the last couple of weeks, you did this ice cold challenge. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and about this ice cold challenge that you did.
Okay. I'm like one of the speakers there. I'm a 50 plus age group category. Married to one woman for the past 30 something years. I've got 5 children, 3 grandchildren, and quite a few that's around me as well. And I'm a business person. I worked in the construction industry for a while, and very community focused. I think we all came through the 80s, a child of the 80s. I'm a teacher by training, and then stepped out obviously into business or into marriage. But then because of a major health scare, and one of the health professionals reading me the Riot Act, I think she was younger than me at the time. I remember I went in because I had a lower backache and I couldn't understand why. I had no neck, and I was introduced to sport. I was reintroduced to it as well as a lifestyle, because I was really in a bad way physically. And I'm a local minister in the Rondebosch area, or in the Kenilworth area. And I love sport, especially endurance sport, namely cycling, which I've really adopted as my therapy sessions to those medical practitioners. My best times of therapy is on my bike, and that's about it. Oh yes, and then we've also opened up a gym. I've been involved in the gym industry. I've got 2 boys that plays rugby professionally, so on an ad hoc basis I would train with them. And I think now for the last 2 years I've opened up a gym, but it was supposed to just be just a normal boutique gym, but it's branched out now into a MMA gym. And so I'm enjoying that now as well, just co-partnering with my sons. But yeah, that's basically who I am.
Tell us about this cold, the jumping into the ice cold water in winter there, Freddie. What's that about?
Yeah. So I've got quite a diverse congregation and people that I'm affiliated with, and I think we all give ourselves to that arena of being adrenaline junkies and seeking the new challenge and how we can best challenge ourselves. And so it was brought to my attention. It was actually just a gimmick, a joke. One of the young moms in our church posted, and she said, there was this guy that jumped into the pool in winter. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to clean my pool, which I never know. You know what we normally do? The pool normally goes into hibernation during winter, and Lake Placid, and it's green, and and God willing, in spring we resurrect the pool. But then we cleaned the pool, and then I had this idea, okay, I'm going to replicate this challenge. And then I jumped in, but then I think either someone filmed me, and then it spread like wildfire in the church. And My son also, because of their rugby, they would have their cold plunges, but in summer. And I said to him, no, our generation, the Obalis, we can take it a step further and we can do it in the heart of winter. And then I did a little bit of research regarding cold plunge, water submersion, the health benefits, and it really intrigued me. And so what turned out to be just a one-off challenge is now a daily ritual where first thing in the morning when I get up, if it's not first thing in the morning, then it's in the evenings, I jump into the pool and I do my breathing exercises. Not for the faint-hearted.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah. So, but I'm enjoying it. I'm embracing it, and I've just been doing it now for about a month, just over almost 2 months now. And I promise you, it's brilliant. I can't go throughout the day without doing it. If I miss it the morning, if I have an early morning schedule challenge and I do it at night, I think that was I got myself into trouble. I must just add. I think we had a storm a few weeks ago that blew through. It was quite a severe rain that fell. I think we had the highest rainfall in one day since 2016, something like that. But it was a major storm, and I didn't do my cold plunge in the morning. And then I came home at night, and it was cold, it was windy, and it was storming.
Yeah.
I committed to this cold plunge, and I jumped in, but I took it a bit to the extreme. I took it to the extreme where they recommend between, I don't know, my colleague or your colleagues over here can maybe direct me. It's recommended that you spend 2 minutes to maybe 5 or 6 minutes maximum. I pushed the envelope a bit to like 15 minutes, 20 minutes to 30 minutes. Needless to say, I, after extracting myself from the pool, was extremely ill after that. And received quite a tongue lashing from the wife. And it was a mild case of hypothermia because I had submerged the head. I had submerged my head as well. I mean, I was swimming underwater. I felt like my eyes were frozen over. So a bit of crazy, reckless stuff, but I think I've got the balance now. So the cold plunge challenge, I got everybody in the church, well, most of the young people in the church to do it. And they now, because I'm also a protagonist of a healthier lifestyle. I mean, if you look at the percentages and the demographics of curable diseases that our communities are suffering with, I try to be a challenge or a beacon or a light or to bring some semblance of understanding that our health matters are in our hands and in our destiny. So the health challenge became a morning routine.
Freddie, let me give you the rider. A cold challenge is meant to be done after exercise to revitalize the body and for help for recovery, not as a morning ritual. I think you missed that fine print, number one. That's what I have.
Yeah,
on Facebook said winter shoe, need weight pastor. But anyway, let's move on. My question to each of you is, how do you manage your sport life or your recreation activity with work? Rosa, you being a teacher, how do you manage being on a committee, a family, and a teacher? You at the practice before the sun rises, sometimes you leave after sunset. How do you manage these things? Chetty, you half the time here, you're away, you're either on the base or you're with your daughter. How do you manage these things? Freddie, from a family with Freddie, you remind me of that the Waltons, Nach Mary Ann, Nach John Paul, with all how do you manage all of that with the church people, with church, and still getting time to cycle? How do you guys manage all of this? Let's start with Rosa and we'll work our way around.
Okay, I think being in athletics and very specifically being a teacher as well, a mother, it helped that hubby is also involved in athletics. It really helps a lot. I mean, his patience with me. Sometimes having to leave him with the kids to follow my dreams, and there were some times, and quite a lot lately, where he has to sacrifice his growth in athletics and specifically in officiating because wife is already there. And you know the argument of husband and wife can't do things together, which for me is, and I think Pastor Freddy will agree with me, is actually what we need in society. But needless to say, family support. My kids are my biggest fans. The moment I think of quitting, they keep motivating me by asking simple questions like, Mom, so are you going to give up on all the sacrifices that we went through over the past years? And then the most important thing is the balance to bring back what you learn out there back into the school system. And you have, I had principals who literally took it to the next level, supporting me with when I have to go away. So it's really a thing of where do you see your finish line? Usain Bolt said, it's not how the race starts, it's how it's ended. And my race is, I'm halfway through my race. I would like to transfer as much as I know, because at this level it's important to be humble, to stay humble. Although people might think you are arrogant because of the position that you have. If there's not a referee and a judge in the competition, as the competition director, for example, you can have all the knowledge, but without them having to implement all the rules, and for you just to oversee it, the entire competition can fall flat. So it's also giving that extra appreciation and realize that you're not alone in the sport. You need others to grow. And it's not about how much I know, it's about how much I am prepared to share the knowledge and experiences and the skills so that they are successes. It's not my sport, it's our sport.
Absolutely. And I think that is key, is that we here to share what we know and not keep it to ourselves, which is part of why I've created this platform. Then, from your perspective, how do you balance everything?
Look, it's teamwork, and by teamwork I mean all these. I mean, I ride with the club as well, and just yes, your friends that keep you and hold you accountable. You know, and I mean it's so important to just have balance, like the cliche saying goes, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup. And like Freddie said as well, for me, it's therapy. The black line at the bottom of the pool when I swim all those laps, that's therapy. After sometimes a tough time doing hospital rounds, you know, it's important for me to, even if it's just a 2-kilometer walk, sometimes in the afternoon, an hour long on the bike, you know, it's important to have that balance. And yes, comes down to like Rosa said as well, you know, the family, the friends, sometimes for me even the patients, because as much as I can teach them, they can teach me a hell of a lot as well. So yeah, and that's just my thing. For me, it's a choice as well, you know. You have the choice. Freddie has a choice to get up at whatever time in the morning to go and take a cold plunge. Hats off. The most I do is turn after the shower, just quickly open the cold water tap, just to get to kickstart, you know. So hats off to you and your 20-minute, half an hour plunges in a cold pool. Awesome. Yeah. So
Definitely.
yeah.
Elton
Yeah.
said he's going to take me up on the challenge.
Oh, is
I've
it?
been kind of pool already. I'll have to come jump there by you. And then Amanda will have to have the coffee ready for us.
No
There we
problem.
go.
I've got the coffee machine ready. So after the pool, I jump straight there and have a cup of coffee.
Awesome.
Okay. I'm in Joburg next week. When I come back, I'll come do 2 mornings with you. Deal.
Deal.
We'll keep you to that, eh?
No,
Say
this
again?
is now for the whole panel as well, eh? This is for the whole panel.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just
You
how
know,
we know.
just quickly.
Awesome. Awesome.
You travel more than anybody else I know. How do you balance all of these things with a lovely teenage daughter? How's your life balance?
Guys, I'm gonna be so brutally honest, and I think I must just take my hat off to those of you who found the sweet spot for balance, because if I'm being honest, and I think, it's so important to be honest, we must be real with people in our circles, because they can maybe learn from the points in our lives that we dropped the ball. And I definitely dropped the ball on the balance part. I did. And, like, social media can be very misleading. You see the person jet setting here and there, or they're in the news, or they're doing this and that, and you have this very distorted idea of what their lives are really like. And for a long part, when I got involved in administration on a very deep level, I had to sacrifice a lot of my personal ones, because with me, I have the responsibility of raising a child, and we don't have family in Cape Town. So it's, I have to make that plan when the plan needs to be made. And then I was kind of responsible for all these players around the country, making sure they have their national championships, making sure the leagues run, making sure there's refs. That responsibility, it almost takes priority over all the other responsibilities that you have in your life, including the job that actually pays you, because we tend to treat, because we're so passionate about our sports, we prioritize that sometimes above everything. And for me, it was basically a full-time job the last 10, 15 years that I've been doing sports administration, to the extent that I actually did not have a love life. I wasn't able to nurture my friendships with people because the sport had completely consumed me. And I've arrived at a space now, I'm 44 years old, and I've arrived at a space where I feel like I need to put things in place to ensure that I have balance, so that I have a fulfilled life. Because also, as a mother, I have to model for my child what kind of life she is entitled to. And yeah, I know a lot. I've also experienced judgment being a mom that's raising my child alone, about my involvement in sport. And I'm sure people will say things like, how can she do that? She's got a child, and who looks after the child when she's not? But I need to make that plan. And for the first 3-4 years of my child's life, I didn't play my sport. I became very depressed, not realizing that my sport was so important to me. It brought me so much joy, but I prioritized my child. And then it was my mom that said to me something so profound. I was visiting in Durban, and a friend came to visit, and she was busy cooking and cleaning and looking after the children. And my mother looked at my friend and she said, Mona, why are you constantly serving people? You're constantly in the space where you feel you need to serve people, whether it's your children, your husband, your family, your in-laws. And she said to her, what actually makes you happy? Do you have an identity out of serving people? Because as women, we are socialized to think we have to take care of everybody all the time. And I come from a really strong mom, a family of strong women. I knew all these things, and I still fell into this trap when I started serving in the sport. And I want to say this because I think it's important for administrators that are watching to make sure that you prioritize yourself, because you can lose yourself. We are volunteers. We are not paid. we do this like we are being paid to do it, you know? We do it like we're being paid to do it, and we love it. And we do get, and it's not completely selfish, because there's so much of joy that comes from, you know, watching your players excel, watching your players on that international stage, knowing that you had a little bit to do with that, you know, for creating that platform. But at the end of the day, if you don't take care of yourself, and you're not setting a good role model for your children, then the scales are not balanced. The scales are not balanced. So for me, I want my child to see my mom is able to do so many different things, and she's happy, you know, so that she can also know as she grows up, I can do things for myself, and that's okay. I don't need to feel guilty about it.
And I think, Chetty, the part, the key is the of happiness is finding that sweet spot, as you call it, between all of these things and doing it as best as you can in that moment in time. You know, Freddie, an Instagram post says, "Is there a sport that Alton doesn't play?" Because we're talking about squash, and Paul's been on the show before. Amanda says on Facebook, the cold plunge, definitely a brilliant way of disciplining oneself, the ability to go beyond one's limitations. It's a mind over matter. And then there's a message from a guy called Royston Festa. I don't know if you know him.
Yes.
Royston and I know each other for a while, a long while, a little bit longer than I know you, Freddie. We went for he's been on a couple of tours with me. He says, just be careful, Freddie might take you out in the pool, as he has a bad habit, as he crossed lanes and took me out in DC. I don't know if the pastor can remember. Freddie, your bike handling skills needs a bit of work there, sir. How do you balance? We talk about balance, you know, so I have to go with that. How do you balance being on a bicycle and being a pastor?
My balance is not good, eh? I'm not saying my balance is not good. No, yeah. I've got and I'm thankful for the honesty of the rest of the panel as well. But I've got 5 F's that I live by, and it's a creed that I think brings the balance, because I'm in agreement, you know, because of our exuberance, because of, you know, what our passion does to us, we can go off balance. But I've got 5 F's that keeps me centered, that keeps all the balls on the table, keeps all the things that we juggle in the air. And the 5 F's for me is important, and mine is basically faith. If I don't have the faith, I've got nothing, because my faith makes me understand that I'm not the sole source. I'm not the sole energy in the room or for the person. I have got my off days. I have got my hang-ups as well. I've got my issues. So I understand my faith that there is that in my life. The second F that I hold on to keep me in the center, in that plumb space, is my family. Is understanding that it's a family affair. I think it was alluded to earlier as well. If there's a race, I used to be, you know, into all the races as well. The whole family's there. If it's out in Swellendam, the whole family's there. My boys, if they're playing rugby, the whole family's there. Everybody's there. So family is vital, and making them a part and being part of lives. No matter what, I was always at all the netball games, all the hockey games. Well, not all, but as many as I could. So family is a big one after faith. And then the next one is the friends. I don't have a big circle of friends. I'm fortunate to have Mr. David still in my life, so you can see. I've got some friends in high places. But friends are very important. What's that?
Only the chair I'm sitting on.
But yeah, it's the type of friends that you allow, you know, and it's to differentiate between constituents and friends, or people that you shared a chapter with in your life prior. But for me, friends is the third one. It's very important, the type of friends. Not high maintenance. It's good when we see each other. When we don't see each other, it's also good. But that good group of friends that you have around you. The second one for me is fitness. The second last one is fitness. That is why I cycle. I love endurance. I'm busy training now for a 10K run as well that they challenged me to. Swimming, gymming, doing a bit of mixed martial arts. So fitness is important because we need, most people struggle with their health. I believe it is because of a lack of fitness. You can't have your health unless you have fitness. So fitness is key because if you don't have fitness, the last one is your finances. You will spend whatever you have of your finances to try and get your health back, which you really won't. And I've seen so many tragic stories of it in different communities as well. So for me, it's maintaining the 5 F's: my faith, my family, my friends, my fitness, and my finances.
And for you, that gives you the balance that you need, Freddie, from a longevity perspective, and to use Chetty's words, to create that happiness within yourself more than anything else, because no one can give you the inner peace that we all strive for. It comes from what we do and what we have.
And the point is as well, I'm a much better person to be around as well. So I'm a benefit to someone. I'm not a liability as well. Because especially with my kids, I'm fortunate now. I've got 3 grandkids now as well, and the interaction I'm able to pick up. I'm able to run. I'm able to, those kind of things is precious. And once they're gone, it's gone. And to have my adult children still being actively participant in my life as well, that's for me is gold as well. And so it's to get that kind of balance. But I love what Chetty said is, our lives are never a straight line. If it's a straight line, we're dead. Our lives are more like our heartbeat. But it's to get that healthy heartbeat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. If you just tuned in, you're welcome to drop your comments, whether Facebook, link, YouTube, or Insta. Tell us what you think of our interesting guests, and their comments. My next question to the 4 of you is: you're all young enough to have played sport at school. How important is it that we have that kind of grounding? You're all very active in sport, and one of the studies I'm doing right now is that the lack of sport at school has created more road accidents.
Wow.
Because of hand-eye coordination, because of perceptual depth. The kid can't catch a ball because he's not done sport at school. So a car comes at a high speed, he can't judge it. So for me, it's an interesting research that I'm doing right now. I want to get your views. Is it something, or am I just blowing smoke in my own head about this? Let's start with Fred and work our way around in with Rosa.
Yeah, for me, that's key. I mean, growing up, look at the generation we came from. You played the whole day in the street. You were active. You were moving constantly. If you were thirsty, you went to go drink out of the hose pipe. If you were hungry, you went to go eat at someone's loquat tree. You jumped over the fence, got a quince. Or I tell the kids, hey, fast food it's Portuguese, fish and chips in newspaper. But there was this activity, the riding of the bikes, the running, the athletics, the training in the morning before school. And if we look at the generation that we have now, and also you had to have a winter sport and a summer sport, and the walking to school and the walking from home. You go to a school today, and there's transport. Nobody walks so well in suburbia, and in vice versa in our townships as well. But for me, it's. I mean, I see the development of all spectrum of age groups now, from the pre-adolescents where the cognitive skills isn't there. Holding a pen, being able to lift a cup, those little things. It's vital for me because we have obesity, we have got health challenges. I mean, people now, they wear I was sitting around the table and, the discussion, this was the actual discussion. I got high blood, I've got sugar diabetes, I've got, I don't know what with the heart. But it was like, badges of honor. And they said to me, what do you have, And I said, I got Amanda. I don't have.
Amanda's his wife,
Yeah, you know, I don't have these ailments. And this one was telling me the doctor's date and the appointments and the knee operation. My one buddy had to go for a hip replacement and scary stuff. And so for me, I think it's fundamental. You know, we don't see that in our schools today. It's all someone said it, you know, it's just one size supposed to fit all. And our kids are, you know, now we term them, they, what do you call it? ADHD or HDMI, I don't know what it is. Because they don't have an outlet. They don't have an outlet, you know. Let that kid get up and let him go run on the field. Let him go and kick a ball, interval. You know, intervals. We played soccer the whole interval. In June, we played street tennis and we worked with all this. Now they're just going to sit there. And so, yeah, anyway, I'm passionate. I've spoken enough.
Freddie, Amanda says on Facebook, easy now, babes.
So cute.
You see what I'm saying? I got Amanda.
She got you. She's got you.
Your question comes through, Freddie. Your question comes through, my friend. There's no denying. Chetty, from your perspective, how important is foundation sport coming into your space?
You know, Elton, I really think you're onto something.
If I look at your profession, speech therapist, your sport, and even in the military, how does all of that create some kind of base to work from?
Okay, so yeah, before I get into that, I want to talk a little bit about the what you mentioned, what you are busy investigating and researching, because I think you might be on to something there. And Jen will tell you because she'll be familiar with this concept as well. It's called neuroplasticity, and it has to do with the brain and the brain's amazing ability to form new pathways as you learn new things, as you acquire new skills, whether it's different types of intelligences or motor skills, cognitive skills, whatever it is. And if you don't use it, you lose it. Now, what we're seeing with in audiology, we tell our patients that all the time. If you don't stimulate the ear, your hearing loss will get worse. That's just how the brain works, and it applies to any of your functions, even your vision. So, with what you said about looking at school sport and the long-term impacts, like that reduced acuity in terms of their hand-eye coordination, it would make sense if we look at how our human race is being socialized, especially if we look at like the alpha generation, which is the generation of our children now. They're very technologically savvy. You know, if they could choose between playing a sport and sitting on TikTok for an hour, more than likely they'll choose TikTok. And so if they are not harnessing those skills, they won't develop it, and the brain won't be like that quick flight or fight response that us 80s babies will have because we were forced to play outside, you know? And then there's the other component as well, Alton, right? We all know, if we're in the sports world, we know how sports can change your life, how it means a whole other world for people who would otherwise have no chance of making it, because the only talent they have is a skill in a particular sport. They don't come from rich homes, they're not straight A students, they don't come from affluent society. And then the schools itself, the wealthy schools, or the schools that wealthy people send their children to, they already know that sport is important. That's why they invest so much. The children, the rest of the country, the majority of the country, where they may not even have a chair to sit on in class, that won't be a priority. Sport is not going to be a priority. It's getting at least 2 classes of day to those kids during the day so that they can have some sustenance. So it's a lot of structural problems, a lot of inequalities in our capitalistic society that has this effect. So it's not like, it's not like straight and narrow. There's so many factors that play into it.
Absolutely, and let's say Rosa will tell you that school is divided into 5 different quantiles. Quantile 1, 2, and 3 is the low to no paying school fees. 4 and 5 is obviously as we go up. And to your point, quintile 1, 2, and 3 is where we have the biggest challenges from a society problem, from a health problem, from a sport perspective. They don't play sport. Jen, from your perspective, what's it like? And as a physio, do you get a lot of conversation I had with physios is the biggest injury they have nowadays is treating people's thumbs because of being on their phones
and their necks and their backs. Yeah, being on their phones. Teenagers that come through the door these days. I mean, I've been a physio for how long now? And you know, the mean population gets younger and younger that we treat, because we're treating them again, necks, backs, because they're on screens all the time, you know. And again, like Freddie said, we used to run around barefooted and play in the road until we get sculled into the house, and you know, and that is what shaped us, you know, our health. Because again, most of us here in this conversation, in this chat here, we don't have any chronic illnesses, you know, because that's just we grew up like that, and we tried everything, man. We played, like Freddie said, also winter sports, summer sports. I don't know much about netball, but I played a lot in the soccer and cricket and that. So, and that's what we did, because it was a winter code and a summer code, you know. And so I see this a lot of, like you said, thumbs and necks from screen time, you know. So, yeah.
We lost Alton, so I'm just going to help him out. Rosa, it's your turn.
Yeah.
He left the conversation.
I think he'll probably rejoin us.
I think for me, the importance is that you know, through sport we instill discipline, and with sport not being around, you lack discipline. If you look at the road rage, for example, if there was a sport where people could get all these negative energy out, it would make so much difference in how we react to certain things happening in our lives. And on the other hand, it's how do we build winners in society if we don't have sport to motivate them to always give their best? If you look at how Bolt again said he trained for 4 years to run the 9 seconds. If the officials weren't on it and knew the rules, he would not have been able to acknowledge, to get the acknowledgement that he deserved. So for me, if sport at school is actually teaching kids very basic principles in terms of never give up, give it your all, try your best all the times, no matter how much you fail, go back and do it again. But I think it's also a lot to do with the fact that we keep referring to our youth as the lost generation. Yet, when we do tummy time with babies, once they started moving around, they're starting to move around. What do we say? Can you please sit still? We want them to say mama, dada, but once they start with mommy, daddy, please listen. Oh, can you please keep quiet? So it's who's really the lost generation? Is it not the parents of those generation that we think are the lost ones? So for me, it really has a lot to do with the society, and I'm lucky to be at a school where sport and we in the lower quantiles, Elton, but at our school, sport is still very, very, very important. The principal would recently we spent more than 50,000, which the school tried to get back to allow the kids to go on a netball tournament. And that is what it is still about. Because the school is still a safe haven, and sport can just support the haven that the kids really seeks for.
It's so nice that you
Absolutely.
spoke about that, Rosa.
Go, Lenyuktha.
Like, oh, sorry, I think
Go.
Oh, can I go? Okay. Yeah, Rosa, it's so such nice points that you raised, about the long-term impacts. And I think when I also think about sport, but not just for children, for adults who get to sport later on in their lives, it has a remarkable impact. And for me, one of the biggest things, all of our sports, whatever we play, we always advocate for sportsmanship. And sportsmanship kind of actually boils down to how well can you take a loss? The way you handle that moment, that disappointing moment in your life, it speaks volumes about who you are as a person. Whether you blame the ref, whether you blame the equipment, whether you say your opponent is lucky, it speaks so much. And I think, and that's why I also love, like, when I get moments with children, because who play whatever sport, because we can talk to them. We can talk to them about what it means to be a good sports person in whatever, because that soft skills, they're more important than having a cum laude degree. Being able to know how to relate to people and treat people well, treat people with respect, being able to honor somebody else when they are excelling, even though it costs you a victory. Those soft skills are very important. That's what will change the world, not degrees.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Luzanne says such valid points. I also think sometimes it's the early specialization that box, in inverted commas, kids into sport, culture, and academics. So when they aren't forced into playing a winter or summer sport, they choose the easier option like a laptop or their phone, which often happens. We force kids into a particular direction. To your point earlier, Lenyuktha, about putting them in a more private school so they can excel in sport, or in a different space, Freddie, into a ministry perspective, and because that is the opportunity that we as parents see for our kids, so we kind of mold them into a certain direction because we think there's opportunity based on what we missed out. So we try and give our kids a better life. We're coming to the end, so let me ask each of you this question: as adults, because the three of our parents, Jenny's not, so I'm not going to ask from a parent perspective. I'm going to ask from an adult perspective. How would you get somebody to participate in sport, and how did it work for you with your children? Any one of you can go as a closing question.
Mine was quite an easy route. Challenge. See if you can do what I can do, especially with my girls and specifically my boys as well. But it was also, I thank God for the understanding that, because so often also we can want to live our lives out in them because we are so passionate about, whatever arena we found ourselves in, or that we were maybe withheld from in our dispensation when we were coming through the ranks. There was no mention of attending, national, international sporting codes. So in this environment of entitlement, we can want to live our lives through our kids and push them. But my approach is always to challenge them and to actually come, let's go out on a run. And I used to do that with my children. Come, we go run so you can run the fastest. Get on a bike so you can ride the furthest. Jump in a pool so you can handle the cold. So challenge. Kids don't do what you say, they do what you do.
Okay, point taken. Rosa, Luzanne says don't admit your comment, your answer.
I think we were young enough to be still very active, so I could still do cartwheels with the kids. Trying to walk on my hands like my son did. And I still recall Hubby playing rugby with the son and trying to scrum him away. So, Freddie, I totally agree with you. The challenge and being able to do the things with the kids. But I also think for us what worked was that we never try to direct them into a very specific sport. We allow them to test and try. And for us, even playing in the H netball team was good enough, because if this is what if this is what you can do, then you can do it. And I think this is why she said, "Don't add me to your comment."
Gevangen, Jane. Jane, from your perspective, I mean, you trying to get your clients back into some sort of healthy lifestyle, coming out of hospital or coming out of injury. What would you say to them, or what do you say to them?
Well, the thing is, I mean, with me and my population, I see lots of people like Freddie's friend that he needed a hip replacement or knee replacement. See a lot of those people. And, by the time they come and have that joint replaced, because I always have a question like, what keeps you active? What keeps you busy? And they're like, well, I used to run, I used to walk, I used to. So it's like, right, so here you are, day 1 after your surgery. Now we're going to start. Let's start getting those muscles to fire, because you want your quality of life back. So let's do that, and that's always, yes, the motivation. And it's like, again, Freddie has grandchildren, Rosa also, they have that desire to get back to that. I want to be able to pick up my grandchild. I want to be able to get on the floor with my grandchildren, that kind of thing. And I'm just grateful that I can be around to, I can just motivate them to get there. And more often than not, most of the time, it's that kind of thing. It's a case of, I want to get back to when I did this and when I did that. And that for me is an awesome privilege to just, to get them from that bed to getting on the floor with those grandchildren. And again, I'm just grateful that I can just play a small part in that journey. Yeah.
And I think that is key in everything that we do, is that we don't always want to be the kingpin. We just want to add quality to someone's life through what we do. It's what I call the intangibles. It's things we can't see, but it's there. We can't see the impact you have on someone's life, but it's there.
Correct.
Chetty, from your perspective, why would someone want to play sport?
I think it's just the most fulfilling thing about being involved in sport is actually the personalities that you encounter, whether it's in your local leagues or on an international stadium. I think, as humans, we get the most joy from other humans, whether they're strangers or whether they're family members. So for that, especially for people who are lonely, maybe they're single, maybe they're estranged from their families, find something that you love. Find a club and just play. You don't have to play to compete. You can play just for the sake of playing, whether it's chess or whether it's badminton, And I mean, it wasn't even pool that saved my life. It was another sport. When my daughter was 1 year old, that was 13 years ago, I was morbidly obese, like maybe 4 times the size that I am now. And I was sitting in the spa with my daughter in her pram, and I looked around, and all I saw was obese parents with obese children. And I said to myself, I won't say what I really said to myself in my head, but in that moment, I was like, no, this is not going to be the life the life path for my child. So I pulled myself towards myself, and I found there was this geriatric athletics club on the base where I used to stay, the military base. And I started joining them. I used to go for walks. They convinced me to train for the 2 Oceans Marathon. And I was obese. I was obese. And they said, in 3 months, you'll be ready. And in like 6 months' time, sorry, it was 6 months at that time. And because I started walking, that walking journey led me to eating healthier. So I dropped the sugar, dropped the carbs, I became fitter. But when I ran the 2 Oceans, I did a half marathon, I was still plumpy, but I was fit. I was fit. And after that, I got, so even as adults, sport can save us, even as adults. And just to go back to what Rosa said about the children, it's so important as parents or as custodians of children, whether you're a teacher or an administrator, is to pay attention to what that child's gift is. Because not everybody is a straight A student. Children have something. You can identify what that is and kind of lead them into the direction where they can explore that magic that everybody has. Everybody's got a special magic in them. My daughter's not interested in pool. She's crazy about soccer. And I love that. I love that she loves soccer and she's going there, doing her thing. I love that. When she was younger, she wanted to do everything that I did. So she used to play pool and she's got quite a talent for it. But as she's developing her own personality, she's been drawn towards soccer. And I support it because she's an individual. She's not here to fulfill my dreams. She must do her own thing, And you can be parents of any child that we come across, Just
absolutely, and that's the key. Absolutely, that's the key, is that we can't, as parents, want to enforce our dreams and our goals that we didn't achieve as athletes on our children, which is often what happens. So you push your child to want to be a sprinter because you didn't get to the champs of champs, Freddy, and now you push that child all the time because that child must not get there. So you can stand at work and say, oh, my child got to the champs of champs. Your child may not be a sprinter, your child may be a chess player. Embrace, as you say, embrace their gift and what they have. So guys, thank you for sharing your pearls of wisdom. Thank you for volunteering your time for tonight. Some of you were coerced more than others, but thank you.
Alton.
Alton. There's actually much. It's nice to connect with people. I'm so glad I got to meet all of you and hear your stories. It's really been a pleasure.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Next week we'll be back with another panel. So stay tuned. Next Wednesday, same time, 8 o'clock. Have a good week. Enjoy sport.
Ciao. You too.
Hope you just stay
Bye,
there.
guys.
Bye-bye.